The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Today on BCIT Magazine, a small idea has grown to become Canada's largest independent fundraiser for cancer research.
Terrorist or family man? One man's fight for freedom reaches a turning point.
And an East Vancouver high school gets BC's first practical engineering program. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Dalgleish.
And I'm Melissa Taylor. A Langley man has been holed up in a church for over 6 months, unable to leave without risking arrest. As Rihanna Schmunk reports, the father of 3 is determined to avoid the deportation he says he doesn't deserve.
This is the closest Jose Figueroa has been to getting outside since last October. Figueroa claimed sanctuary at the Walnut Grove Lutheran Church after the Canadian Border Services Agency told him he was facing deportation. Since then, he's only been able to see his family on weekly visits.
My kids, when they come, and here is where we sleep. This is where my 2 daughters and wife, everybody lives together.
Jose has been a model, I call him a model Canadian citizen, and for support of his family. His children were born here. His oldest son is autistic. If he were to be deported back to El Salvador, that child would get no help or services whatsoever.
You know, the person that made the decision last year that I should go, she said that he can do good at school without me, and that I could do this through Skype, that no parent can be given moral support to their children from far away.
Canadian Border Services cites Figueroa's involvement with an allegedly terrorist FMLN group back in El Salvador as reason for his deportation. However, this wasn't mentioned when Figueroa first entered Canada 17 years ago. When we asked the CBSA for comment on Figueroa's case, they redirected us back to the Minister of Public Safety, who then told us that neither the FMLN nor Figueroa are actually listed as a terrorist threat.
I want to face them. I want to hear why they are bringing these allegations against me and why they are separating the family.
Figueroa is currently preparing for his case to be reviewed at the end of the month. Until then, he says he'll just have to stay put. Rihanna Schmunk in Langley for BCIT Magazine.
The City of Abbotsford has lost their hockey team and with it a tenant for their entertainment centre. With more on what the city plans to do with the empty facility, Ahmad Agahi brings us this story.
Blocked, loose in front, they score!
5 years of memories. That's all that remains inside a dark and empty Abbotsford Centre because time has run out on the Heat hockey here in the Fraser Valley. An early exit from the playoffs means the team can start packing up for a move to Glen Falls, but not everyone's going.
For the players and coaches, maybe not so much because they're used to this type of thing, moving to new cities and playing and coaching wherever. But for myself and people in the office, there's over 20 full-time people working, so they're all going to lose their jobs.
With the Abbotsford Heat being the affiliate of the Calgary Flames, many fans simply didn't feel the connection. In this arena, nightly averages were 2,000 people less than anyone else in minor league hockey. But in the future, things might be different if these 7,000 seats behind me were filled with Canucks fans.
Everyone knows that if they were somehow able to bring in the Canucks farm team, they'd probably sell out every game.
It's tied more to this province and to this community then.
It has to be a team that means something to Abbotsford. I think that'll make a big difference.
The Vancouver Canucks have made it clear that they are happy with their current affiliate and are in no position to fill the void left by the Heat in Abbotsford, at least for now. If the Heat were to play out the remaining 5 years of their deal in Abbotsford, it would cost city taxpayers $11 million. That's on top of $7.2 million they have already paid. Killing the deal early will cost $5.5 million in comparison. Abbotsford's Mayor Bruce Banman says the phone has been ringing with interest.
Yes, we have. So it's clear that we need to have an anchor tenant, but I can tell you what we won't be doing is subsidizing the next anchor tenant.
Banman is still set on bringing hockey back to the Abbotsford Centre, but that may not happen until the 2015 season. Imad Agahi in Abbotsford for BCIT Magazine.
North Vancouver residents are concerned a proposed housing development will bring more traffic to their already congested neighborhood. Daniel Stevens has the details.
It's the morning rush as parents on Calder Avenue drop their kids off to attend a local school.
I suffered 2 times an event where I was just driving out and I was almost having a crash because a parent was coming down really fast.
Neighbors say they're concerned about the school board's plan to sell a lot on the street to developers who want to build 7 strata homes.
Because we have, 5 kids and they all play on the road, which is a dead end. So having them on the road now, there'll probably be at least 14 more cars coming through.
We moved here about 20 years ago, and the reason why we moved is because of the cul-de-sac, and it was nice and quiet, and the school, for the kids. And now they want to make 7 more houses down at the end of the cul-de-sac, which is going to cause a lot more traffic in the neighborhood because right now we have 10 houses on this block, and they want to add another 7, so it's close to almost doubling the number of houses here.
The school district says they need the money.
The school district has Argyle Secondary, a high school that was built in 1960 that needs rebuilding.
The developer argues that the added homes may not be that big of an issue.
The amount you're adding is really not, it might not even conflict with when there are traffic issues there. If people are going to and from work, is different than going to and from school.
Residents will meet with developers on Wednesday to discuss the proposal. And even if a solution can be found to reduce traffic, the street will never be the same.
It's a shame to have to develop green space because once you lose it, it's gone. And this property here has always been green space.
Daniel Stevens in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A high school in East Vancouver will be getting a new engineering program. Neha Prihar went to the school and spoke to students about the new curriculum.
To you before?
Students at Templeton Secondary School will soon be taking advantage of a new education program called STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. It's designed to give students a better chance of getting into university. Grade 11 student Linda Kong is enrolled in STEM for September.
Ever since I heard about STEM, I've been pretty hyped up about going into this program where I could actually do things I like instead of just taking courses that I should be doing that I'm not really interested in. So I'm pretty excited for that.
The program is project-based and focuses on problem solving, skills universities are looking for when accepting applications for engineering programs.
I think STEM will help me get into UBC engineering because it's different than what other students might be doing. For example, I'm taking robotics and engineering 12. So that makes my transcript look a lot different than other students, for example.
Physics teacher Mike Hangeveld has been working for over a year to get STEM into his school.
Yeah, sure. You can try to solve it on paper, but in the end, you need to take it off the paper, you need to make it. And that's something that if you don't take a kid out of the classroom, you don't take students out of the classroom and put them in a shop, then they don't learn that.
The school partnered with private sponsors to fund the program. Post-secondary institutions like UBC, SFU, and BCIT are also providing training and equipment.
So to make that kind of thing happen, we're sort of looking to outside groups to see if we can close the gap between what we need and want to do and what we have available to us presently from the government.
Linda hopes STEM will power her dream into becoming an engineer. Neha Prihar in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up next on BCIT Magazine. SFU could see 5 players taken in this year's CFL draft, thanks in large part to one of their coaches. And there's a vote going on this week, and it really is for the birds.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, putting you to work.
Welcome back. The CFL draft is just days away, and Simon Fraser University looks to continue its trend of being the premier school for supplying Canadian talent. As my co-anchor, Mac Dalgleish, explains, one person has played an integral role in developing players from SFU to the professional level.
Jog it back nice and easy.
Derek Hansen has worked with many student athletes at Simon Fraser University over the past decade. In football, he has helped develop college athletes and turn them into professionals at the CFL level. For many, working with Hansen is something entirely new when they reach the top of Burnaby Mountain.
In Canada, where they're coming from high school where they might not have had a developed strength and conditioning program. Very few schools do in Canada, whereas in the U.S. it's a lot more developed, or it's a lot more, I guess, culturally accepted to have that.
Since 2003, 17 former Clan football players have heard their names called, having their dream of playing professional a reality.
What Derek can do with a player is unbelievable. Just he's got to stay the course and do as he says, and the results come. I mean, whether it be speed, cardio, or strength in the weight room, he's got it all figured out.
Corrado, along with 4 others, have been training hard to be in peak performance for training camp if they are to be drafted, something they say would not have happened if not for Hansen.
Football's the kind of sport where lifting and training is quite important, and having Derek around really it really changed my life.
It's not about me, right? So it's just about seeing them move on and have some success and make those accomplishments, and it's nice to be part of it, but it's really about what they've accomplished.
The CFL draft will be held May 13th, where SFU could see as many as 5 players selected. Mac Dalgleish in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. The BC Lions assigned a familiar face in defensive lineman Khalif Mitchell. He had been a key player in helping the Lions to a 2011 Grey Cup victory, but the following campaign was marred by on and off the field problems.
It's a simple device with a complicated name that could save a life. While the AED is popping up in more buildings, as Kelsey Davis reports, the province has yet to make it mandatory in all public places.
Shock delivered.
With the push of a button, a life can be saved. The Automated External Defibrillator, or AED, is a simple device that is drastically improving the chances of surviving cardiac arrest. Its effectiveness is something lifeguard Nick Magri knows well. He saved the life of a 20-year-old man who had suffered a massive heart attack.
By the time we got there, there's this lifeless guy on the ground. He's like pretty gray, and yeah, he was totally dead at that point. In this case, without an AED, it would have been a different story.
After pulling an 11-year-old unconscious boy from the water, Magri's co-worker Laura Hendricks said without an AED, a mother would have been planning her child's funeral.
The AED was the most important thing in his rescue. He was in ventricular fibrillation, so his heart was beating too fast, and in order to put him back into a normal rhythm, CPR wouldn't have done anything other than sustain his life. The AED was the only thing that could have saved him.
Currently, BC does not have provincial legislation that requires AEDs to be in all public places.
Hi.
Hi. BC Life Saving Society Director Wendy Schultenkamper can only educate people until that legislation changes.
Call 911 or EMS and send somebody to find an AED. 1, 2, 3. When the AED comes, you stop CPR, turn on the AED, and follow the directions.
Look at pictures on pads. These are simple steps that allow everyone to be a first responder and, with the help of the AED, possibly save a life. Kelsey Davis in Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
It is rare to find anyone whose life has not been touched by cancer in some way. My co-anchor Melissa Taylor sat down with a local couple behind a day-long ride to raise funds for cancer research.
He may not look like a typical superhero, but Carrie Kunsley is suiting up in the hope to save lives. Kunsley is president and ride day captain of Ride to Survive, a one-day cycling event from Kelowna to Delta, with riders covering 400 kilometers over 19 hours to raise money for cancer research.
We ride as one team from beginning to end. We ride together, we finish together. There's nobody gets there first. In fact, we put our cancer survivors finish first at the end. And it's so fun to watch them go in at the end.
This year marks the 10th anniversary of the event, and for the first time ever, the ride is sold out.
Well, it's taken a long time to get here, but it's fantastic because we don't spend any money on advertising or any other promotion because we don't have any money. We make sure that every single donation dollar goes straight through to the cause of cancer research.
In 10 years, the event has raised over $2.5 million, making it the Canadian Cancer Society's largest independent fundraiser.
Sometimes it's like, holy crap, look what we've done. And other times it looks just like a small amount of change because there's just so much more you can do.
While many participants ride in memory of someone who lost their battle with cancer, organizers maintain the ride is about hope for the future.
Typically our riders, everybody writes their names of who they're riding for on their arms and their legs. Neither of us did that, and we haven't done it since that year, and we both looked at each other and said, we're doing it for everybody.
This year's ride takes place Saturday, June 21st. For more information on the event or to donate, go to ridetosurvive.ca. Melissa Taylor in Delta for BCIT Magazine. We go now to Laura Short, who has some tips for anyone looking to spoil their mother this weekend. So Laura, we've been told you have a unique suggestion for Mother's Day cards that involves donating money to a good cause. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, for viewers out there who want to give a more meaningful card this Mother's Day, they should check out the website ovariancanada.org. Here they can send a Mother's Day e-card, and they can also make a donation to ovarian cancer research at the same time. A gesture I think a lot of mothers out there would be touched by.
Do you have any special Mother's Day plans?
Yeah, actually, we're going to go see Spamalot at the Arts Club Theatre, but for mothers out there who may not be into Monty Python, well, you never can go wrong with a day at the spa.
Next on BCIT Magazine. The Reclaim Art Show is now on in North Vancouver, and one artist is hoping to increase environmental awareness. And a new online service pairs dog owners with dog lovers.
The most rewarding thing for me has been the relationships I developed in the program, both with instructors and classmates.
My sense of confidence has never been higher. I mean, this program's offered great opportunities to be in real world, real industry situations, and being in those moments and knowing I can contribute, I can do this.
It's exciting to be in this industry and to meet lots of great people and to make amazing friends.
BCIT broadcast and online journalism, realizing your potential.
Standby graphics, ready, camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news,
today on BCIT Magazine, striking,
make magic on a movie set,
frame,
and action, or bring your creative ideas to life, BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
Welcome back. The Reclaim Art Show is now on at the Cityscape Community Art Space in North Vancouver. Kyle McKeechee spoke with one artist who is hoping some of his pieces will get people thinking about the environment.
Ron Zimmer has been creating art with recycled materials for the past 6 years. He makes toys and structures out of the material he collected from scrapyards over time. He stores all of his work and metal in his yard and uses an abundance of heavy machinery to help him modify the scrap metal. Ron's motive is simple.
Nothing I make is really perfect, but I don't worry about being perfect. I worry about it just conveying the idea, you know.
Old CO2 canisters are common in Ron's work. He has produced a wide range of pieces using them. Now he's working on a series of CO2 bells for the Burning Man Festival this summer. He enjoys working at home and does most of his heavy-duty work in his backyard studio, hidden in the bush.
Ron's art is on display here in North Vancouver, along with other artists that use reclaimed materials for their artwork.
The Cityscape Community Art Space has opened its doors for a free show to display the wide range of work done by reclaimed artists.
I think it's interesting for people to find recognizable pieces within the art pieces themselves, and I think that gives them an interesting outlook on, you know, how you can use different materials to create something totally different.
Ron's work has a recognizable style that's on display in galleries across BC. With all the work he puts into each piece, he hopes that people can get the environmentalist message.
I'm concerned about the environment. I'd like to make people understand that the environment is seriously threatened, but it's a hard message. It seems like a lot of people they make lip service to protecting the environment, but not much actually happens. So I find it's a very sad thing. There's not much I can do about it except perhaps make interesting art to make people think about that.
The exhibit's artists feel that reclaimed art has been able to bring attention to the problems of mass consumerism, putting an eco-friendly spin on abstract art. Kyle McKeechee in North Vancouver, BCIT Magazine.
Now we go to Kyle McKeechee for more on this story. So Kyle, what kind of exhibits can we expect to see at this month's show?
Well, Mac, the Cityscape exhibition focuses on the artwork of 17 different artists. You can expect to see a roller skating robot made of a giant drill, a portrait of the Queen made up from 8,000 different pennies, and the Toaster Roadster, which seems to be the fan favorite.
Those sounds like some pretty unique ideas. Is there anywhere else viewers can come see more of this kind of art?
Well, Mac, a lot of these artists' artwork can be seen around Vancouver, but if you're looking to see something a little bigger, you can attend the Burning Man Festival this summer, where a lot of Ron Zimmer's artwork have been on display for the past few years. Back to you.
Thanks, Kyle. In honor of this Saturday being World Migratory Bird Day, the City of Vancouver has proclaimed this past week to be Bird Week. It's a chance for residents to get out and appreciate our feathered friends. But as Jared Featherstone reports, some locals think birding accomplishes so much more.
Black and white stripe through the eye. See what I mean about fun?
Adrian Duff has a passion for birds. The longtime resident of Kerrisdale feels birding isn't just a hobby, it's a way of helping out the environment.
Nowadays, people like to think they're part of the research, the data that can be used to help birds survive.
Bird lovers all over Vancouver inspired the city to hold its second annual Bird Week celebration. Part of the event is a contest to name the city's official bird for next year. 350,000 votes have already been tallied. That's nearly 5 times more votes than Mayor Gregor Robertson got in the last election. Dan Straker is happy about the tremendous response.
Yeah, well, the best part about the city bird is really just getting people to know a few birds in a city.
It seems birding can be a great way to stay in shape.
They all want to hike or bird or do botany. You know, there's a lot of aspects to Nature Vancouver.
The City Bird Vote wraps up this Saturday, May the 10th, along with the rest of Vancouver's Bird Week events. Voters can choose from 6 different birds for this year's contest: the Pacific Wren, Northern Flicker, or the Black-capped Chickadee, my personal favorite, are all up for this year's honor. Voters can choose for their favorite on the City of Vancouver website. Jared Featherstone in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A BCIT grad has created a service that allows dog owners to share their pet. Sarah Morden finds out how part-time pooch works.
Skittle, stay.
Dogs are one of the most popular pets in Vancouver, but some owners struggle to find the time. That's where part-time pooch comes in. It's a service that allows dog owners to meet up with dog lovers. The idea is called dog sharing. While many like the idea, some people are concerned about sharing their best friend with a stranger.
My safety concern would be like if you don't feel comfortable with that person, or if there's signs of abuse with a dog.
It's sort of like hiring babysitters for your children as well, isn't it? That there is an element of unknown.
If there's really nothing in it for the dog sitters other than taking care of a dog, then there's no great incentive for someone who doesn't want to take care of a dog or who's bad with dogs to do it.
Gavin Flett says the online service just broadens the scope of something people have been doing for a long time.
Dog sharing doesn't necessarily mean you give your dog away 50% of the time. All it means is you let somebody take care of your dog that would otherwise not have a chance to have a pet, and they're taking care of it for free, so I decided to call it dog sharing. It can be as little as a walk or as much as a couple of months or a couple of weeks.
Many dog owners turn to kennels for a place to board their dogs if they don't have friends or family able to help. The BC SPCA believes dog sharing is a good alternative.
Anything that can help an animal stay in a home environment is always a good thing. It's a way of keeping them out of, for example, a boarding kennel, which can be quite stressful for a dog. Why not?
Dog sharing may be a useful service, but the BC SPCA says it's still a good idea to do your research. Sarah Morden in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
And in an interesting turn of events, earlier this week, a woman was robbed by another woman wearing a Darth Vader mask and carrying a handgun. The suspect ran off with a small amount of cash, but was shortly caught after by Vancouver police. After the arrest, the VPD said, unfortunately, she underestimated the power of the force. If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca. I'm Mac Dalgleish.
And I'm Melissa Taylor. That's today's BCIT Magazine. We leave you now with a spring scene from Pacific Spirit Regional Park.